starts off with the selection process. What is the NFL draft? What is the combine? The Dallas Cowboy owner.
I was about to
Look
say.
at what he was saying
Yep.
about on tape. He got caught accidentally.
Jamie Foxx.
On tape describing the body parts of one of his players all the way to the sex organ.
I don't know what kind of crap I'm going to get for this, but I want you to look behind me. Do you see how beautiful this Arizona sky is? Now, just a quick observation. It has been this beautiful since last Thursday. What do I mean by that? If you put on a tinfoil hat, if you don't want to believe me, then you can swipe. But
Hey, Segovia, back with another one. Hope everyone out there is having a good weekend, y'all. We got a good one coming up today. In today's episode, we got mysterious videos from TikTok's deepest abyss. You guys ready to get into it? Let's have some fun today. Be sure to hit that thumbs up. 2,000 likes, nothing less. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
These are celebrities that have died twice. First up, Nelson Mandela. So there are millions of people who believe that Nelson Mandela died in the 1980s.
I'm one of those people.
The thing is, he did not die until 2013. But there are people who will argue you up and down the wall that Nelson Mandela died in the 1980s. The second one is Eddie Murphy.
What?
So there are millions and millions of people all over the world who specifically remember Eddie Murphy died in 2013 in a snowboarding accident. And the final one is Michael Jackson. So there's no specific date with this one. Hundreds of millions of people for this one believe that Michael Jackson died somewhere in the early 2000s, maybe late 90s. And they remember it playing out exactly how it did when he actually died. So for them, it feels like they relived Michael Jackson's death
Two
twice.
times. Oh my God.
It is the craziest thing ever.
I wonder what that is then.
The reason why they're trying to shit on Mr. Beast is so they can create a punishment system for anybody who steps out of line. And that's really what's happening right now. And so they're trying to make Mr. Beast look bad. They're trying to, damage his reputation in order to make him afraid from collaborating with people that they don't like. The fact is that Aiden Ross is extremely popular. He's like massively popular. So is XQC and so is Mr. Beast. And I think that what's happened recently is that everyone has kind of realized that these like Twitter losers are just that. They're Twitter losers. They don't amount to anything. They don't create anything. They don't mean anything. It's just, that's me again. Sorry about that. They're just nothing.
One of the hosts of America's Got Talent posted a photo and people noticed something strange in the background. Looking closely behind her, you can see that some of the members appear to have distorted facial features, and on the right side as well, which have led multiple people to believe that this may be an AI generated crowd to hide their identity or fill it out more, while others believe that this may be part of the demon face syndrome that some are claiming to have witnessed. Now, obviously, this could just be a glitch with the camera causing people's face to look this way, but I do take into consideration that we've seen multiple glitches in the past that will glitch out a person's face specifically, even though there's other elements around them, and some of these glitches will even target a person's eyes specifically, changing the color of their eye pupil or turning their eye pupil shape into a slit. Now, this may sound crazy, but what if there are beings all around us disguised as humans but really aren't? And as people are becoming more aware and spiritually sound, the veil is being lifted and some people are starting to catch this demon syndrome and actually see these beings. Who knows for sure, but I want you to check out a clip of a strange glitch that was caught on TV and let me know what you think about all this in the comments.
Do you see that?
This dude walked in on his roommate sawing his other roommate's head off.
I heard about this.
Have you seen this,
I didn't
bro?
see the footage, but I heard about this.
This is crazy, bro. So this happened in 2020 in Idaho.
Yeah.
It's about this dude named Douglas Taylor. He's living in this house that's pretty much like a sober home. So people who are recovering from doing drugs or have mental illness all live in his house. Randomly on this night, around like 10:30 p.m., one of the guys who lives in the house hears Douglas and his roommate Hans upstairs arguing and like tussling with each other, right? He goes upstairs. He sees Douglas sawing Hans' head off with a knife. Hans just like looks at him, doesn't even say anything, just looks at him and just keeps going back to sawing his head off.
Did he decapitate, bro?
No.
Oh, so he got like halfway.
He got like halfway there, so
Damn.
and he just runs off.
Oh my
So
God.
that's when the downstairs neighbor, his name was Aaron.
Yeah.
He calls the police. Police come and there's body cam footage of all this, and the EMTs instantly get to work on this dude Hans
He's not dead yet?
with like 17 stab wounds. But somehow, bro, like these EMTs like worked into like overdrive and actually got a pulse back from this guy.
What?
Yeah, bro. And he ends up dying later on that night. The police are pretty much trying to figure out, they're asking all the other roommates, like, you know, more about this dude Douglas.
Yeah.
And eventually, later on the night, the police find this dude Douglas like at some supermarket just sitting on the floor. He pretty much admits to the whole thing, like, yeah, I had to do it.
I had to do it.
Yes. And the reason why he felt like he had to do it is because Hans is originally from Germany. He thought that Hans was trying to start up a new cult of
Nazis?
Yes. So this dude
Fine,
killed his
y'all.
roommate because he thought he was going to be like the next Adolf.
Yeah.
And then chopped his head off.
Dude.
Now he's going to be in jail for like the next like
30
years.
years.
Or something. Yeah.
And when did this happen
That
again?
happened in like 2020.
The
That's crazy.
conspiracy theory is that Avril Lavigne died or committed suicide sometime in 2003, right at the height
bad
of her
word.
popularity, because she couldn't deal with the fame, and also her grandpa had just passed away. Because she was so popular at that time, her record label apparently replaced her with a body double named Melissa Vandella. So the conspiracy theory goes that the record label already used Melissa to distract the paparazzi from the real Avril Lavigne
Yeah.
because she wasn't into the spotlight. And
Yeah,
didn't
she
like
wants to stay hidden pretty much.
Do you want to hear about the greatest imposters of human history?
Please.
Queen Elizabeth I was actually a man.
What?
I don't believe it.
So when she was 9 years old, she was sent off to a town called Bisley because there's a plague going on. King Henry, he hadn't seen her for many years. And so he was out on a hunting trip close to Bisley. So he's like, I'm going to go visit my daughter. On his way there, Queen Elizabeth got sick and died. King Henry VIII obviously had a very bad temper. She's looking for a girl that looks close to Queen Elizabeth. Can't find any girl. But Queen Elizabeth's friend, they said a very pretty boy, red hair. So they dressed him up like Queen Elizabeth. And then King Henry got there. There was no suspicion. She became queen. If you look back, she had no weakness of a woman, but the mind of a man. She would always wear a high collar. She refused to get married. But the kicker, hundreds of years later, in Bisley, there's a graveyard very close to the house where Queen Elizabeth grew up. There's an unmarked grave. And when they excavated it, there was a little girl, the same age as when Queen Elizabeth would have died. She was wearing Tudor clothes, like royalty
Wow,
clothes,
yeah.
but an unmarked grave.
Mm.
In a building like this, right? So this is horse and wagon time, 1893, and they're building buildings like this, riding around on buggies, but then having coffee in a place like that, right? That was right on the water. Here is one. Look at this picture. These are people on a beach, right? And they have umbrellas, which is just weird. So let me just zoom in real close right there. They're on the beach and they have umbrellas, and they're also wearing suits, which don't make any sense. And what's interesting about this picture is in this picture, if you can see all the way back there, see that boat? That huge boat? So this is 1893, right? You got people on horse and wagon. They got dirt roads. You know, they're supposedly going around on their buggies and, you know, riding around on their buggy, farming and whatever nonsense that we've been told.
What
And
a big
then
lie,
you have
right?
ships that look like this. That doesn't seem to really fit the narrative, right? So 1893, right? So you got a battleship, which is just absolutely remarkable. It's actually called Battleship Illinois. And then you have some castles. Let me show you guys some castles. And people, of course, horse and buggy with castles.
The elite.
Like, what a big lie that we've been told that we fell hook, line, and sinker to. What a big lie that, you know, the start of America was horse and buggy, hammer and nails. The people that were already here were dumb as a box of rocks, so they say. You know, the hunter-gatherers lived in tents, and then they came around, and now it's where we're at. Like, what kind of bull is that, right?
Fake neighborhoods all around the
crazy.
world. Watch
Cody
this.
in 2021 when he started to report that he doesn't believe anybody else lives in his apartment building. So he investigates it and he finds out that there's cars that have been sitting in the parking garage for a long time. There's a bunch of dust on them. And so eventually all these weird things happen. So he pulls the fire alarm and nobody comes out and he records it. Oh, now a guy's reporting that that's happening in a neighborhood. Okay. Yeah, he's reporting he's lived in this neighborhood for about 4 months now and he's never seen a single neighbor. So he started to do some investigating. He's knocked on all the doors and nobody's ever answered. He noticed
The elite have
that when
the
he
power
puts his
to do
garbage
this
cans
to
out when it's
anybody.
garbage day, nobody else's cans are out ever. He also started hearing noises that sounded like they were on a loop, such as birds chirping and crickets. And he found little speakers behind rocks all over the
Remember in
neighborhood.
the movie They
making the
Clone
noises.
Tyrone? Watch it.
He's also noticed cars not ever leaving their driveways. And all the neighbors, every one of them, get their lawn mowed on the same day by the same company.
It's a setup.
Is this neighborhood a front for something, or is this a random weird
Stay
neighborhood
weird.
simulation?
People have heard of Edward Bernays, which is usually coined as the father of public relations or the father of propaganda. And he was a part of the CPI, this Committee on Public Information. But the chairman was a guy named George Creel. And this guy was a political operative. But this whole thing started in 1917 because Woodrow Wilson wanted to convince the people that World War I was justified. Because think about it. What's going on right now? So Israel and Hamas are going to war. Of course, America is going to postulate that they should be involved. It's an ally issue. So they need to convince you, the public, you should help us. You should support us. You should support Israel. You should give them money. You should give us money. You should allow us to get another $20 billion. But I know you're tired of giving money to Ukraine. So why don't you give us $20 billion so we can help Israel? So give us more money, because nobody wants to give more money to Ukraine. They're tired of that. They don't want to hear that, but they still need this money. This is what we call the military industrial complex. We still need this money. And you know what's crazy? They're so good at this. So, you get like a really dramatic music. It's like, and then they all of a sudden have these pictures of these Black Hawks flying through the air. It's like, and then you see this massive aircraft carrier with like 12 boats next to it, and they're all just like, and then you see like an eagle flying across, and then you see these military people jumping out of the Black Hawks, like, and everybody's like, yeah, we're going to show you what the red, white, and blue's all about.
It starts off with the selection process. What is the NFL draft? What is the combine? Compare that to the auction block of plantation. So what did they do on the auction block? They would bring a slave out, grease him down, and they would show off his muscles and let him know that how strong he was and how fast he can run, how many hours he can work. And we letting him go for $75, and they would bid on him. Same thing with an auction block. These athletes have become the richest slaves that have ever existed. They have the money, but they still are a slave. And they're being auctioned, just like you would on a plantation. Look at what the Dallas Cowboy owner,
I was about to
look
say.
at what he was saying
Yep.
about on tape. He got caught accidentally.
Jamie Foxx.
On tape describing the body parts of one of his players all the way to the sex organ. Think about that. What is he saying? I'm looking at a greased up nigga that's getting ready to make me some money on my plantation. Cotton field, football field. Think about that for a second. Notice that all of the general managers, all the owners, Caucasian. Well, how's it in the NBA? What black man owns an NBA team?
Not anymore. Michael Jordan.
He was in it, but he never owned it all.
Never owned
Minority
it.
owned.
Yeah, I think
partner.
he might have got to a point where he got to 51% maybe. But I'm saying that to say, as a general rule, you can be a quarterback, running back, wide receiver. You can be a forward, a center, a power forward. You can be a guard. I will let even some of you Negroes even be coaches. But you'll never be the owner, because this is my plantation. So, in that sense, that is what it is. And I'm not telling the brothers to just say to hell with it because it's a plantation. No, you use it for what you can get from it and allow your social leverage to be created by your skill that you've developed in sport and play, but take it to another world, take it to another level. There is no such thing as God creating a hooper. God does not create hoopers. He does not create wide receivers. He does not create linebackers. When God creates man, he gives us a purpose that we can make a contribution to the upward and onward movement of civilization.
I've said this before a couple times in my videos that I remember when the Suns were in the finals. I don't remember what it was, what year, 21. I think it was 2021, 2022, something like that. I was smoking, right? I shouldn't have, right? Never do it again. I never had a bad experience, right? I was doing okay. But anyways, I remember I was watching the finals smoking and I saw it, y'all. I saw it crystal clear how they are, slaves. Even the white players down to the coaches, down to the way they show the fans eating and they break to the owners in the owner's box and they're all sitting around like it was crazy how I saw, when you're smoking, you just see things different, right? Maybe it was just a hallucination. I don't know. But I saw it. And I can't see it now when I watch it like sober. But when I was high watching that game, I swear I saw it all, how they are slaves, the way the coaches talk to the players, the way they, slap their butts when they walk by, when they're checking in, like all the little details when they cut to the fans and the fans are talking. And it was deep, y'all. It's really deep how they, how it is. But it comes down everywhere, right? Even me with YouTube. If I say the wrong things, guess what? They'll cut me off. If I say the wrong things 3 times, my channel's done, right? So you say the wrong, you get out of line at work and do the wrong things, say the wrong thing, you're fired. So it's from the top all the way to the bottom, y'all. Like Michael Jordan was 51% owner, whatever he was saying, but he can still be fired. So, anyone can get fired except the ones at the top, and those are the owners, right? So. It's crazy.
I don't trust her. I think she was set up to be his wife.
Right.
And then, hey, if he turncoats, you're up. Because if you look at her,
because she's taking over Turning Point, right?
Within 2 weeks,
right?
You have a grieving wife, and she's on a podcast right away.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Right.
Hey, smiling. Oh yeah, I remember when we had just got smoked in front of everybody, JFK style, and you're smiling.
Yeah.
So that's weird. That's number one, right? The memorial. Can we all agree that shit looked like fucking, a WWE event? Like, that was WrestleMania.
It becomes almost scary because Netanyahu's been in power for almost 2 decades. And in a sense, it's like this is sort of a modern situation. The war on terror, the Middle East, Netanyahu, the ascendancy of Likud, the neocons. This is like the past 25, 30 years, and it seems to sort of be sunsetting. Like Netanyahu, if this war ends, for better, for worse, he's going to be out. And he will not, whoever his successor is, will not be able to keep the coalition together as well as he did. So maybe their influence diminishes there. The media environment is not centralized anymore, so they don't influence that either. In the last legs of whatever this period can be called, that this go for broke moment, what scares me is how desperate they're going to get. Yeah. And I think that's where maybe it makes sense they killed Charlie Kirk, because there's some recognition they are that desperate. Like that is a desperate hour for them when they're losing absolutely everybody, isolated. They're not winning the debates. They can't win it with the soft power, censorship, suppression, the rest of it. Do they then resort to total chaos, crisis, these kinds of operations?
Damn shame.
Because it's sort of like the emperor has no clothes. Like you said, in our lifetimes, we've never seen something like this. Can they lose? Will they tolerate losing? What does that actually look like? And I think that's going to be resolved in the next 6 months. So it's going to be kind of freaky.
Yeah, it's like the example I use is that they say when a woman in an abusive relationship tries to leave the husband, that's the most dangerous time. That's when he might kill you, is when you try to leave. Even though it's the right thing to do, it's like that is the most dangerous time. And so you do, I think something we should all be kind of aware of is how do you manage that situation exactly? And you always kind of want to, even in these really awful situations, you want to kind of leave the door open in a way. You have to find a way for Netanyahu to be able to declare victory or whatever and say, save face to stop kind of doing what he's doing. But it is, look, it's like you said, there's just no. I remember thinking this when they were really trying to cancel Rogan during the COVID stuff, because he was heroically telling the truth about it. And I remember even thinking, you're like, so what? Let's say this works. You get Joe. What do you think? All his listeners are going back to Don Lemon? Like, whether they take you out, they take me out, whatever. Do you think all the people we talk to, or what's their next step? Like, it's not like they're going back into the Matrix or whatever.
You know, it's a damn shame they're having that conversation, right? It's just a damn shame they're even having that maybe they killed Kirk because they were losing their followers so much and they wanted to make us divided that much more for their benefit. Like, that's even a shame that they're having that conversation. But I mean, I feel like the Democrats did it in 2020 to make people hate Trump so much. They did the George Floyd thing. They did the shutdown. All of that, to me, there's just too much happening to their benefit, making everybody hate Trump. Everybody, celebrities, everybody. Like, that's what I think they did. That was their, we need to hit the kill switch because we're losing everybody. We need them back. And then maybe this is their little thing. Like, what are they going to do in 2020? What? When it's the next election, like, what's going to happen? Always something happens. 2020 was that. 2024, what? You know, it's always something crazy going on at the election time. So I guess we'll have to wait and see.
I don't know what kind of crap I'm going to get for this, but I want you to look behind me. Do you see how beautiful this Arizona sky is? Now, just a quick observation. It has been this beautiful since last Thursday. What do I mean by that? If you put on a tinfoil hat, if you don't want to believe me, then you can swipe. But since last Thursday, since the government shutdown, it has been bright skies. Nothing in the sky, if you know what I'm talking about. No trails. No trails. And it's been like that. And I've been looking every day to see if this is real. But I've noticed how flippin' gorgeous and untouched this sky has been for well over 5 days now. Is that something? I don't know. You tell me. You can rip me up in the comments, but I'm just telling you, this is different because I've seen trails in the sky. I see all kinds of crap. So you could tell me, am I being weird? Or is there something to this? I don't know. Little funding just all of a sudden kind of dries up. Then all of a sudden this happens. I also believe in aliens too, so you can tell me whatever.
It's doing. Now, I haven't really put two and two together, but now that I think about it, it has been crystal clear skies. I know today it's been raining all day. Yes, it's been cloudy the past couple of days because we got rain here from that Priscilla hurricane where I'm at now. But before that, it has been crystal skies. Have you guys noticed anything in your hometowns? Has it been crystal clear skies out or, normal clouds out there? Let me know down below.
Miles an hour underwater, big as a football field, and that's no fish. There are 5 or 6 deep water areas of the ocean, and he said these are areas where we see a high propensity of these UFOs.
So is it possible, given our current understanding of physics, for any man-made machine to go anywhere near 200 miles an hour underwater?
Not with our technology, no. The best we have is probably in the high 30s.
Watch this.
What is your opinion of war protesters? And would you today refuse to be drafted?
Honey, I just want to keep my own personal views about that to myself. I'm just an entertainer, and I'd rather not say.
You think other entertainers should also keep their views to themselves?
No.
Are you satisfied with the image you've established?
Well, the image is one thing, and a human being is another,
How close is the image to the man?
It's very hard to live up to an image, I'll put it that way.
It's nice seeing celebrities or professional athletes keep their mouth shut about politics regardless of what they believe in politics. Nowadays, I feel like, especially athletes, they get asked something like the big stars like LeBron and stuff, and they say the dumbest things. But then you go watch clips of guys like Jordan or Elvis right here, and they just don't talk about it. They know they're not professionals on the topics, and what they're good at is performing and their sport or their music, and that's what they're about. You gotta respect Elvis for that.
Now, it was before. I mean, this Elvis thing was what? When was he around? 50s, 60s, 70s, right? I don't know when, but before like 2016, nobody talked about politics openly. There was no podcast really on politics, especially how it is now. There's so much money in it now, but back then, you didn't walk down the street and tell who someone's voting for by a hat they're wearing or by them wearing an American flag or whatever. Like, you couldn't tell. You didn't ask people, like, who'd you vote for? Like, that was a disrespectful thing. Like, even on here, for a long time, people said, We don't talk religion. We don't talk politics, on these types of platforms, right? Now, that's all people talk about. But it wasn't too long ago, like 2016, where people weren't really talking politics at all. It was something you don't talk about. You don't ask people. It's none of your business who I vote for, right? But now it's open. It's out there.
The truth in plain sight. Smile I've ever seen out of Mark Zuckerberg.
So the song Shake It Off was about how I shed my skin every 1,000 years. And the song Bad Blood was about how I drink blood out of my Grammys.
A toast to blood. Save some blood for Paul Rudd.
Begins at the dawn of history. The birth of the very first society.
I'm gonna have to move that sensor.
The need for the very first secret society. A fraction of early humans were born smarter than their fellow cavemen. And if they would not listen to reason, perhaps they would listen to a higher power. And thus the Order of the Black Robes was born.
Operating from the shadows using secret knowledge, we and our descendants kept watch over all of human history.
Well, not to point out the obvious, but fire, plague, acts. If you're watching over us, why didn't you stop these things?
Stop them. We unleashed them.
Atom, the first and last letters of his name, A.M. M. On the morning his wife, Eve, was designed as the PM of the Eve theme. So it's Adam and Eve and not Adam and Deacon Stevie. It's not Eve and Adam and Eve and Ellen. Degenerate, another topic for another day. So the first threesome in history was Adam, the woman, and the serpent. So the serpent is the body organ of Lucifer.
So you as a pastor are going to tell me that Cain and Abel were from different fathers?
They were from the different fathers. The father of Cain was not Adam. The father of Cain was the serpent, was Satan. The father of Abel is Adam. The mother of Cain is Lilith, who is also Eve because she became so tied with Lilith, who is the feminized side of the male Lucifer. And the mother of Abel was Eve. This is a mess.
We're the only species on this planet that sunburns this easily. Let that sink in. Birds, covered in UV blocking feathers, reptiles, scales, natural armor, whales and dolphins, specialized skin cells that literally repair damage from the sun. Even apes, our supposed ancestors, have thick fur shielding them. But us? Step outside too long and the sun cooks us alive. Why would evolution do that? Enter Dr. Ellis Silver, environmental scientist, not some internet crackpot. He proposes something that flips the whole Darwinian script on its head. Humans might not have evolved on Earth. Let me say that again. We're not from here. We were placed here. Because if you take a step back and look objectively, our biology doesn't fit this planet. We overheat easily. We suffer from chronic pain, allergies, anxiety. We need shoes to walk, umbrellas to survive sunlight. And our babies? Practically useless for the first year. There's not another species on Earth this fragile and high maintenance. This planet is a survival machine. Everything adapts. Everything evolves except us. So Dr. Silver asks, what if we were engineered? A hybrid species brought here from somewhere else? Maybe a failed experiment. Maybe a colony. Maybe even punishment. We don't know. But our skin, our bones, our biology, they're all whispering the same thing. You might feel human, but this place was never made for you. Or maybe you were never made for this place.
This is just a theory, not a fact.
Dolphins connect us to the mythical world. That's why you're not allowed to give birth near them.
What? I leave this podcast for like 6 months. And this is what happens. You can't give birth near a dolphin? Why?
It's not legal.
It's not.
You also can't communicate with them legally. Who's going to stop me from
what do you mean legally?
Going into the ocean with one of those paper towel rolls ups and just talking to the water?
This is something that blew my mind. There is a population of wild gorilla in the United States. And if you don't believe it, look it up for yourself. Now, in Florida, right, there is what's called the Eastern Lowland Gorilla. Now, at one time, there were all of these wildlife sanctuaries and zoos. And when Hurricane Andrew came through, it basically destroyed a lot of these places. And the gorillas escaped and made their way out to the swamplands, where they reproduced. And there is still to this day a large wild population of gorillas in the Everglades. And not only that, in the 40s and 50s, they brought mountain gorillas from Africa here to America to do this experiment where they were seeing if they could adapt them to the environment of the United States. And so they put them in this very large enclosure, and eventually the money ran out and these gorillas escaped into the woods. And they, once again, they made it and reproduced, and they actually thrived. And there is a good-sized population of wild gorillas throughout the United States, in the Southeast and the Southwest, even the Pacific Northwest. And yeah, I mean, if you are walking, say, in Washington or Georgia, in the woods, you could
see a freaking gorilla?
A gorilla.
How crazy would that be? But whatever happened to the monkeys from the test lab out in North Carolina or South Carolina? What happened to those? Did they find all of them? Or did they just sweep it under the rug like, we'll take a loss? A new civilization of monkeys are here now. Whatever happened? And what kind of tests were they doing? Are they sick from those tests they were doing or what? Let me know down below, all you South Carolinians and North Carolinians. Did they find those monkeys that broke out of the lab? Let me know. This is eerie.
What the fuck is that? You're not afraid, are you, Terry? No. And there's the sound of a dragon. Either that or it's a faraway mini bike. Probably a dragon. Surrender. The word enough is not in the beast's vocabulary. Akin to envy and jealousy, greed. That's gunfire.
Lady Gaga is currently going viral because of how demonic her performance at the VMAs were. Some people are saying this was more demonic than when Sam Smith did his notorious performance at the VMAs. I mean, just take a look at this. Usually when I make a video like this, people are saying, oh, there's a deeper meaning. This is art. This is beauty. No. There is no meaning behind this one. In my opinion, this is dark. People are trapped in... What are we doing?
I thought, man, it's freezing in here, but I'm still 104 fever. I look to my right, and out of nowhere, Jesus is standing there. The physical person, and everything else just kind of disappeared. His skin was much darker than I'd seen as a kid. He almost looked like an Arab man. He was wearing a white robe. He had like wavy brown hair, and he had these dark greenish blue eyes. And when those eyes looked into my eyes, he looked into my soul. I could just feel this love emanating from this man.
I felt that before.
That was what convinced me that it was Jesus. He holds out his hand and he says, I want to answer your prayer. And I'm thinking, my prayer? What the heck? I didn't make the connection right away, but I thought, I used to pray as a kid that Jesus would show me heaven. I reached out, I took his hand. Immediately, when I took his hand, we were standing on a hill. Everything around me is white, like the whitest white I've ever seen. And all of a sudden, out of that light, it starts sending these light beams. They look like fluorescent light tubes, like you use in your shop, the 4-foot things. And I'm watching these things, and one of them is coming straight at my head. It hits me right in the forehead, and it warmed me, like all the way down to my feet. And now I'm looking at this beautiful scenery. I see that I am standing on a hill. Below me are these little flowers. They're purples and yellows and orange. And then at the bottom of this hill, there's a great big city down there. But I can only see the rooftops because it's like there's fog on top of the city. So I can't see the whole city, but I can just see the rooftops. And there's one real big gold dome, like a Capitol dome. And there's other smaller gold domes. I mean, the city's huge. It's like miles apart. I'm just looking at it, just going, this is amazing. And when I look back at the light, Jesus says to me, it's the glory of the Lord. And when he said that, I just got weak in my knees. And I fell to my knees. And with the instant my knees hit the ground, they shocked me and they brought me back.
Aiden got FaceTimed by Kai, and he was like, yo, I'm pulling up to the warehouse right now, send me the Addy. And he was on FaceTime. And then he said, once he knew he was on stream, he exited the call. Aiden called Kai, yo, did you just call me? No. Damn.
Yo, are you actually serious? You gotta pull up to the warehouse right now. Is he trolling? Is he trolling or being for real? Was that you that just called me? Don't fucking troll me, bro. I didn't call you. Brother, this AI shit's getting... Dude, somebody just called me off your line and said, yo, send the address to the warehouse. I swear, bro, I'm live right now. I swear to God.
He was about to get the warehouse address leaked.
That's insane. Yeah, it's crazy.
That's why whenever I tell my mom, if you ever find a phone call me asking for anything, we have a code word. Yeah, the code word. We have to say the code word first.
No. Man, that's scary, right? Because I'm telling you guys, these AI videos that I find on here, they're starting to get hard to decipher. Before you can decipher, like there was no emotion. It sounded like a robot talking. But now they're starting to have the emotion, the facial expression that goes along with the emotion. Like it's getting deep, y'all. And, that's scary. That's a scary thing. That's where technology is going. Like that dude could have gave him the address and they could have came in and done God knows what. Right? So it's a scary thing.
I've learned from the shaman of the Yupik tribe who died recently. He claims that the whales have the knowledge of the human race dating back 450,000 years. They can actually call the cetaceans in. They'll come right up to the shoreline, and they can communicate with them telepathically. He had read that at one time there was an Aboriginal tribe on the south coast of Australia whose shaman had this capability, but according to the anthropologist, none of the tribe were still alive today. But he went there anyway to check it out. Thankfully, he found 20 members of the tribe still alive. Whenever they held a ceremony, the shaman would call the whales in through the tunnel, and they would come right into the lagoon, and then a UFO would come down and land, and the occupants would communicate with the shaman and with the whales. Also had a legend that one day, all the shamans capable of communicating with cetaceans would come to their sacred lagoon and all commune together. Not too long ago, as they had a seismic upheaval, and the subterranean tunnel collapsed, so the whales can't come in anymore into the lagoon. But the interesting thing is, all 20 members of the tribe have a birthmark on their chest, and it's in the shape of a humpback whale. When he was down there, they had another small earthquake, And they had this huge sacred rock right on the edge of the lagoon. And during the quake, the rock split right down the middle. All the tribal members were petrified. They thought this was a terrible omen for them. They went up to the rock to look, and I've seen a photograph of this. The whole interior of the rock is white, except right in the middle, there is a silhouette of a humpback whale. That's perfectly true. Last year, all the shamans gathered there, and he's making a documentary movie of it now.
Probably never heard of this, so let me hear it. It's a Mexican urban legend about duendes. It's this story. It took place in Michoacan. There was this musician, right? He was with his band or whatever. They were playing, right? He ended up going home, but he had to go through a little shortcut. So he would go into the wood, and he saw these duendes dancing. And they looked at him, and they saw him, and they were like, yo, you, come, play for us, and we'll give you a bunch of gold. Because they saw that he had an instrument on him. He's like, I bet, whatever. He started playing. When they finished, they gave him the gold. He was going back to his house. He knocked on the door, and his wife literally looked at him like, what the f***? In shock. You look different? She was like, yo, I thought you were dead. You've been gone for so long. Where have you been? Where have you been all these years? She had kids with his best friend. Like, they were big and stuff. It's like, I was only gone for an hour. Like, I was doing this and I was playing for them. What are you talking about? They gave me all this gold. And then they're like, what gold? Those are a bunch of pesos. They're not even real gold coins. He's like, fuck, bro. So, like, time for duendes are, like, different than human time. So late.
You know, that's how crazy Mexico is. Like, his wife probably didn't even get with the authorities, didn't even get with the police, do a search, a grid search of the area, nothing, right? Because they just thought they got him, right? You're a musician making money out here. Usually that doesn't end well for you if you don't get down with the program. You know what I'm saying? So that's probably like years past, and that's how crazy Mexico is. You know, folk tale aside, like just the fact that his wife's like, you were gone for years, like, and we didn't even look for you. You know, we just thought you were in a barrel of acid somewhere. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's how crazy Mexico is.
I think everyone at this airport is blind, and I'm really confused.
And this so happened to be July 7th, open. And what does it say? Sin is no longer your man.
All the cars being red.
That's nuts. I don't like that.
I feel fucking creeped out, mother. Oh my god!
My neighborhood, right? You have a fucking simulation. Like, literally all the houses are the same, right? Why the fuck are all these white cars like dead ass? And it's very there. Very there. That's the sun.
They've been trying to tell you all along, but you never listen. Buzz Aldrin, the famous astronaut who was on the moon, was trying to tell us that the moon landing was fake the whole time. Just watch this video.
What was the scariest moment of the journey?
Scariest? It didn't happen. It could have been scary.
Why has nobody been to the moon in such a long time?
Because we didn't go there, and that's the way it happened.
I remember my parents waking me up, and we went down and we watched you guys land on the moon,
No,
which
you
was
didn't. No, you didn't.
what?
You watched animation. So you associated what you saw with...
I have very hazy memory.
Not a bad line. Not a bad line.
There is no such thing as gravitational pull. We lied to you. Maybe this whole operation was never really about reaching the moon. What if the entire mission was just a carefully planned distraction to keep us from paying attention to what's actually happening here on Earth? And this is why
the cartel uses TikTok to recruit.
Yes.
Facebook, TikTok.
Of course.
But
Totally makes sense.
But specifically, TikTok is one of their biggest recruiting methods. And it's in the open. It's not like you have to access this private page and go and do this. No, it's like, hey, you want to come work for the 4 letters is the way they call themselves. So he called this number and he was like told to meet somebody at a bus station. They put him in a car. They checked them, like, give me your phones. Give me, like, we don't want to be tracked. And then they drive them to a place where they were going to be trained, I guess, is what he said. And then cops stop them in the road, beat the shit out of all of them there, torture a few of them. What are you doing? Where are you going? After they got the beating of their life, they're like, good, you passed the test. And now you're going to go to the camp.
Oh, so that was what it was for.
But the uniformed cops were all cartel members. These are places where everybody's in on it.
So it's just to see if you'll crack.
He gets driven to one of these ranches, these training camps. And it's not like, I remember seeing the Al-Qaeda training camps where the guys are on the monkey bars and stuff like that. These are military compounds.
See what I'm saying? Why she didn't call the authorities or have a grid search with people come out and search a grid for him? They got him. See, you saw it right there what he was saying. They're all in on it.
We did get one report that as 3i Atlas gets closer now to the sun, telescopes here on Earth are picking up other objects flying alongside it. Is that accurate?
Well, there are always objects. The question is whether we see unusual activity. And in fact, I tasked my research team at the Galileo project to monitor the sky for any unusual activity, because it's possible that if it's a alien probe, that in fact it would release some mini probes that will visit the planets.
Yeah.
We should not assume anything. It's a blind date and we should watch the other side, just in case there is a serial killer there.
What's that? Oh, people have been looking into glitter to see what it's made out of, and it appears it may be made out of humans? What? Yeah, there's been some investigating done, and they're finding out that glitter, they say that it's made of microplastics, but when they put it under a microscope, it has the exact same look as that of ashes of a human. Oh, goody. So people were trying to figure out who the main buyers were of glitter. So they went to the 2 main glitter factories and asked them, and they said, you wouldn't want to know, we're never telling you. So they investigated more, and they found out that their main buyers are morgues and crematories.
No way.
Fun. More
No
and
way.
more people are looking at ashes that they have, and they're looking under a microscope, and they are looking identical to that of what glitter looks like under a microscope. Fun.
Gail King, of CBS News, shortly after Kobe was assassinated, she interviewed a former WNBA player who was great friends with Kobe, Lisa Leslie, and was asking Lisa Leslie, did Kobe rape that girl and call her, bashing the reputation of Kobe Bryant. Why? Because boulets do this, and then right after that interview, Gail King, Oprah Winfrey's girlfriend, gets a $500,000 raise. This is what they do. They don't care about us. These gatekeepers, I'm telling you, Reverend Al, vitamin B deficient Sharpton, Jesse Jackson, Benjamin Crump, Farrakhan, they're all a part of the Boule secret society.
So we have this huge club, right? So Skull and Bones, then we have the Boulets, we have all the names, you name it. Clintons, Bidens, Obamas. Who's not in the club from this administration? But because it feels like this administration with Trump and J.D. Vance and all those guys, it's like they're the opposite of those, but they're in their club of their own. That's what it feels like.
You know what? They are, but they're not a part of the Illuminati.
The University of Southern California has been exposed for making hundreds of thousands of dollars by selling dead bodies to train Israeli forces. A review of 7 years worth of contracts between USC and the US Navy revealed $860,000 in deals involving 89, quote, fresh cadaver bodies, 32 of which were specifically used to train the IOF at the Los Angeles General Medical Center. The most recent contract allows for an additional $225,000 worth of bodies to be sold to the U.S. Navy, bringing USC's total earned amount to $1.1 million. Now, where are these bodies coming from, you might ask? You're probably assuming, like I did when I first started reading the article, that these are people who consented to becoming human cadavers for the purposes of medical and scientific research after death. But that's not the case. They are unclaimed bodies that the LA County becomes responsible for managing. And why do dead bodies go unclaimed? This can happen for a number of reasons. For example, they might not have any contact with friends or family. So think homeless people, imprisoned people who have been abandoned by the world, maybe even missing people whose family and friends gave up hope on ever finding, undocumented people, and sometimes the loved ones do want to claim the body, but they don't because they can't afford a burial. So pretty much, unclaimed bodies are typically those of the most marginalized people in the nation. So these are mostly marginalized people who were likely exploited throughout their entire lives, who are now being exploited even in death. They cannot even get respect and dignity in death. Even if it wasn't a marginalized person, these people did not consent to their bodies being used in this way. And it raises the question of whether the families of these people know that their loved ones' bodies were sold to be used by a foreign military that is currently conducting a bleepside. While there are regulations for how the bodies of consenting cadavers can be used, there are little to no regulations for how the bodies of unclaimed people can be used. And then it begs the question, why the fuck is the IOF being trained using human cadavers to begin with? They're dropping bombs from planes and destroying entire buildings, entire neighborhoods at the click of a button like it's some kind of video game. Their targets are mostly civilians with no means to fight back, and their actual opponents do not have nearly the same level of weaponry and technology. What are they training on human bodies for? And why has the U.S. Navy allocated more than a third of its cadaver budget over the past 7 years to a foreign military that started carrying out a bleepside in the past 2 years? And wait, speaking of unclaimed bodies, missing bodies, all of that, aren't there like hundreds of thousands of bodies missing in Gaza?
DARPA is something most Americans have never heard of. It's the biggest collection of geniuses anywhere in government. These are the guys that are creating not the next generation of technology, but 3 generations from now. If there are flying saucers and they're not little green men from outer space, DARPA made them. Seriously. This always struck me as very funny. DARPA's work is so classified that one DARPA scientist sitting next to another DARPA scientist has no idea what the other guy's working on. It's too highly classified. I mean, even at the CIA, we weren't cleared.
Not even at your position?
I had to get a Q clearance once because I had to go to the Department of Energy to talk about a nuclear issue. Nobody liked the fact that I had the clearance, and I ended up having the clearance just for 1 day, and then they revoked it. But that's how DARPA is too. And this is another thing that always struck me as funny. There's a DARPA website, and they have pictures of scientists like, working together all in bliss. These are just generic pictures of random people you pull off the internet. These aren't DARPA people that are the pictures. You can't show the DARPA people. They're too highly cleared.
Okay. Let me tell you what's going on with this. I bought this bread last year, right? And I'm so used to, I'm old school, by the way. I was born in the 70s. So I'm used to when I get bread, when my grandma would get bread, it would be expired. And sometimes before it was expired, you would see some mold on it or something like that. You know what I mean? But definitely by the expiration date, you would see a little mold on it somewhere. So the expiration date came, the expiration date left, and I said, well, goodness, this bread is still kind of soft. So maybe they got the expiration date wrong, but I'm just going to leave it here just to see what happens. Well, I left it there. April, May, okay. Then June came around. I'm like, okay, I don't see no mold. So let me see how long I can keep this bread before I see mold. All right, put it on the shelf. Looked every single month. I would take it down off the top of the shelf and say, let me see if it's molded. No, it hasn't molded. Guys, we are coming up on a year. Okay? May 15th, 2024 is when this bread expired. There is no mold on this bread. I kept it just like this so I could see.
Watch this before it gets taken down. This video was taken by an undercover reporter who was allegedly arrested by North Korean police after it went viral and was sentenced to 10 years of hard labor for espionage. In the video, we see a 23-year-old homeless woman who says she's collecting grass to feed rabbits, lost both of her parents, and has no food for herself. She was found dead a few weeks later. Videos like these show us the harsh reality of life within the brutal regime of North Korea that they do not want us to see. Or do they? These leaked recordings are completely banned from leaving the country, and anyone responsible faces harsh consequences. But there was one Canadian man who ended up leaking their national TV broadcasts to the world by accident. This guy was messing with his satellites to scan for free sports in Canada when he came across this. Little did he know, he just hacked into North Korean state TV, giving us a glimpse of what they show to their people that we were not supposed to see. Every day, the national anthem and songs glorifying the country and their leaders played at 8 a.m. sharp. And then it just kinda kept on going and going. Hours of content of the country basically glazing itself and dissing America. There were also a couple of movies in there that honestly looked like they were...
So they showed them a photo of an alien grey, and this shaman just went, that's Makan Wabu. These guys who were doing a podcast got these Amazonian shamans on, and they were like, you know, tribesmen from the Amazonian basin, living out in the jungle, drinking the ayahuasca, very much in communion with nature, no connection to modern society. And they asked, well, before they got the photo out, they asked them, like, do you know what an alien is? Like, what do you think about aliens? And they were like, no idea what that means. They haven't got a term for it in their language. So they showed them a photo of an alien grey, and this shaman just went, that's Makan Wabu. And they had a whole story about Makan Wabu, this human that became an ant that lives underground and it can take your soul, and you need to be a good shaman to bring that soul back. But the fact that they had this complex mythology around something, they didn't know the term alien. The moment they saw the archetypical grey, they were like, that is Makan Wabu. That's something we have. I mean, there's cave art in Australia that goes back thousands of years with big bug eyes and wide heads.
Wow.
And this is shared through a lot of different cultures across the world. What they are, I don't know. I do think the greys are a thing. I do think they are.
All right, family. There you have today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. You made it this far. You know what to do. Like, comment, subscribe. Let's get this video to 2,000 likes, y'all. Let's get them all to 2,000 likes. Hope you guys have been enjoying the content lately. I did a lot of upgrades, y'all. If you haven't noticed, I got a thumbnail. Someone to help me out with my thumbnails. Doing a great job with my thumbnails. Also, little things, y'all. I get a lot of questions on here about why is my channel not growing? Trust me, I deal with it too. You know, I deal with it too. But I learned a lot through ChatGPT about, you know, the description. Don't use the same description over and over. I've been doing that. So I change it every time, change my tags, you know, just things like that you can learn, y'all. And there's answers on the internet. There's answers on the internet. Any question you have about YouTube, there's either a video on it or type it in ChatGPT. And they'll give you some good knowledge, y'all. They'll even make you a description. You're having trouble with the description. You're like, how do these people come up with this description? Tell ChatGPT a little bit about your channel. It'll make you a description right there, y'all. Copy, paste. That's the game, y'all. But anyways, I hope you guys have been enjoying this content, y'all. But I'm gonna get out of here, y'all. I'm gonna see you guys tomorrow on the next one. This is Segovia. I'm signing out of the man cave. Later.